Feeling very Miami.
I'm not really that excited.
Yo, is it hurricane season down there?
It is, bro. For life.
Yeah.
Even when it's not, it is.
True that. Yo, KGB couldn't make it today. He sends his apologies.
His regards.
But he's definitely
he's doing fatherhood shit.
Definitely doing some fatherhood shit. Yeah.
I wasn't here last week. Now it's his turn. One of these days you got to diss us. Let's do it.
Yeah, next week probably. So, right. And by the way, we might actually switch up the schedule. So if we don't hear anything in the DMs after this episode drops, I think we're just gonna pull a stunt. Well, I guess we'll talk more about it, but we might change the frequency of the pod.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you want to know more,
but for the better, it's not. Yeah. It's not anything that we're doing for a negative reason. It's to polish it and make it a more well-oiled machine for the people.
Definitely. And so this is our 200th episode. This is 200 straight weeks of Fatherhood's podcast.
If I had $5 for every one of those 200.
Yo, it hasn't been easy, bro. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. So Thank you to everyone who listens on a consistent basis. Even those of you who are new, we still appreciate your ears. And those that watch on YouTube also, thank you for checking us out.
Thank you for being a friend.
What was that show? I sing that every now and again.
I don't know, but I just asked for $1,000. I should have put $500 for every 200. Yeah. I just asked for $1,000. That's it.
You just did the math?
Yeah. I was like, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, bro.
No, but life is getting busy. The summer is getting ridiculous. So I don't know. Well, we're still talking about it, trying to put a game plan together, but don't get mad at us if we skip a week and then we tell you that we're coming back in the other week or something like that.
Yeah, man.
All right. So you got some stuff to talk about, E.
Not some stuff to talk about. I just it's not, you made it sound like some traumatic shit happened in my life.
Yeah, no, I'm mad. What's the word? False advertising out here. Yeah. My bad.
Although we did take my poor son, he's been going through the ringer with doctors. I don't know if did I talk about it on the show yet already?
I think. I mean, you've said it many times where like you guys go through a round of being sick a bunch, but
yeah, but he had all kinds of shit happening. Yeah, where it was like in and out of urgent care, and then the doctor, his regular doctor. Then we went to a specialist, and he's been getting, fucking pricked and prodded. Like, poor guy's been through the ringer, and he's such a sweet kid, and it just hurts to see him, just getting like fucking, all these like shots or like blood drawn, and him just going through it. And today was his 2-year doctor appointment, which we had to reschedule from a couple weeks ago. And then again, they fucking pricked and prodded him again. He's just like, he sees the nurse, and he saw the building, which bugged me out. He saw us pull into the parking lot, and he knew. He goes, nah.
Oh, poor kid.
I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. I feel so bad for you, man. And but anyways, with that being said, I do want to get into something that actually I got an email today, and it goes in line with my son, my daughter. Like, my son just turned 2, and I feel like the switch got turned on for the terrible twos, like immediately.
Oh, okay.
He's starting to have tantrums and like these little outbursts that he wasn't having before. My sweet little innocent baby is, turned a corner here. And he's still sweet and innocent, but yeah, like he's going crazy. Like when we go to change him, his diaper, he's wilding out. He's a strong little fucker. Like his legs, I feel like I've got to do wrestling moves on him. I feel like I'm hurting him if I, because I'm trying to make sure he doesn't throw shit everywhere.
Right.
And so he's doing that. My daughter's still in her, we can't call it, what is it? What was it? Terrible twos. And they said the three-nagers. She's not a three-nager because she's 4 now, but she's still got her little tantrums and issues. And so I got an email because a while back we tried to like check out. It was actually during quarantine. There's some lady that claims to be an expert on kids and their behavior, and we watched like a live stream or something that she did. But then it was like after you have to like buy a whole program. We didn't buy it, but I subscribed for the free thing that we watched. And so I got an email today that talked about 4 strategies to stop tantrums.
Okay.
So I want to like discuss it and tell me what you think. You have older kids. Have you implemented anything like this on your own? Let me change this up here. And I'm thinking some of them just seem like they're like no-brainers, but You tell me. So, strategy number one is the title is Mind, Body, and Soul Time.
Okay.
And basically, what it's saying is spend 10 to 15 minutes, intentional minutes each day, one-on-one with your child. Do whatever your child wants. Ask them what do they want to do, and you do that wholeheartedly. You're 120% doing that with them, and they decide what it is they want to do. You don't decide. No phone, no computer. No, you have to be mindful that you're in the situation with your kid. And it says that by doing that and giving them that short amount of time, that full attention, and it supposedly it helps change their behavior, because it kind of, the way that the lady puts it in this is it fills their attention bucket. That's the way this lady puts it.
So I'm just, as you're saying, I'm thinking about my 3 kids and whether or not I'm doing that with them. So first and foremost, that is something that I began doing to a small extent more recently. So my youngest is 6. So I'd say in the last 2 years, maybe, I've been mindful of trying to do that. My son is the one that I feel like I've done that most with, because he has been the neediest when it comes to that. My girls tend to kind of find their own way and don't really check for dad or request time of me like that. So I've gravitated toward my son, who's actually come out and be like, Dad, we got to do this. We should do that. And then I just turn everything off and like focus on him. But what's interesting there is my son talks a lot. So a lot of the time it's just him blurting out random facts that he heard and learned on YouTube. And it's just me listening and trying to be engaged and try to follow him going from
topic. You go into La La Land?
I try not to. I try to because it's easy for me to have him talk and be like, but I really try to engage the conversation.
Right.
But I don't do it with my daughters. So I'd say I'm doing it half-assed right now. But I do agree that it is important and it does work.
So it does work. You're saying it does work. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So strategy number 2 is control the environment. And what they're saying that means is so it's 100 outside or something. It's perfect storm. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So they're basically saying that if your kid takes naps, if you know your kid gets cranky if they don't eat a snack, do the things that will help their mood. Make sure that you plan your day around their afternoon nap. Make sure you try to give them a snack if if you're gonna go out somewhere and stuff like that. So the bottom line here at the end, it says just remember. Each morning, take a moment to think about and plan your day. Know where you and your children are going, what you will be doing, and plan accordingly. By taking the time to control the environment, you'll be able to avoid many tantrums-inducing situations. But then the next paragraph is mad funny. They indemnify themselves. They're like, just remember, life happens. Sometimes naps are missed and meals are skipped, and that is perfectly okay. When things go a bit astray, just make sure to manage your expectations and focus on implementing the next strategy.
Okay, because I was gonna say that one I'm gonna call bullshit on right now. As eloquently put, is incredibly hard to actually be consistent with. For me,
older kids maybe.
For me, and maybe it's just because of the chaos, for the way we managed it. But I can say we've been able to pick up relatively quickly on the fact that when one of our kids, when they were younger, even my 6-year-old still to some degree now, when they start wilding out, we don't take it. We try not to take it personally or get upset about it. We just, all right, it's time for you to take a nap. And then we could make them aware of how they're behaving, and then try to get them to be okay with taking a nap, and then celebrate them after they wake up. Don't you feel better? And encourage when you're feeling this, let's go take a nap, right?
Right.
That works. That works a ton. But doing it in partnership with your kid is the trick, because otherwise they're going to be upset every time.
I mean, we definitely we're big on routine in our house to try to maintain, to the point where sometimes like I feel like my girl is a little bit too hardcore. You know, I have like
Like a
nicknames for
general.
her, like Fidel Castro. Or,
Oh, hey, yo.
um, but the routine is great. You know, like I feel like everybody needs the routine. Can I say that those naps and those snacks 100% will avoid tantrums and things? No, but definitely when they don't have when my son, at least my daughter doesn't really take naps anymore. In school she does. When she doesn't or he doesn't take the nap, we can see it, we can feel it.
Gotcha.
And when they don't have a meal or a snack that they usually do, if they're hungry, we can sense it. You know, it comes out in their attitude. So that, you know, I could say to be true. Strategy number 3: give clear expectations. I thought this was interesting. It says, like if you're going to a party with your kid, and you want to like kind of set up expectations to your kid, like let them know what's gonna happen, because it's basically saying your kid is not a mind reader. You know, they haven't. I'm putting my own words. They haven't lived life long enough to know how to act and what to expect in every situation. So it's basically saying set up like an idea to them, like set it up for them. Like, yo, we're about to go here. It's gonna be like this. Play nice. You know, you should make sure you play nice with your friends and do this and do that, and then maybe like things that might happen, and then kind of set up expectations of how you want them to behave. Is what this is saying. Say, look, we're gonna be in this situation. If a kid takes a candy from you, there's no need for you to have a meltdown. Just tell me, I'll get you another candy or whatever. I expect you to behave like this, this, and this. And if you don't, it says you should let them know what's going to happen, the consequences, if they misbehave and don't listen. And of course, the ending paragraph, says, hey, if shit happens.
and if none of these work, try your own shit.
Yeah, right. So yeah, what do you think about that one?
That one we apply all the time, and I think it's one of the things that I credit to us being complimented so often about the behavior of our kids, because I'm very much about allowing my kids to find out things for themselves, whether they're great or maybe not terrible, but not the greatest. But I always want to make sure that they have a clear understanding of the possibilities of their actions, or what circumstances we're about to get into, or whatever. Because for me, it's important for them to be able to make decisions on how they want to behave or present themselves in a given situation. And I find that prepping them always helps. Like even if it doesn't go perfectly, like even if they wild out when they're not supposed to, the level to where they get versus where I know they could be is substantially less.
Well, based on what you're saying, so this is the last paragraph. It says, once you've made your expectations clearly known, the ball is in his or her court. Could he still end up losing control and falling into that dreaded tantrum territory? Yes. But you can rest a little easier knowing you took the right preventive steps to help stop a tantrum that may have been in the works.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this was an email you got?
Well, no, I got an email, and then because we deal with tantrums right now, now double. Now it was my daughter, and now my son is in this world. I clicked and went to the website.
Got it.
And started, reading through. I'm like, what's it gonna hurt me to see what tips these people are saying? But like anybody else, will forget this in an hour and not implement it. But now let me ask you this though: with this, give clear expectations. Strategy number 3. Do you say that this works for older kids that are understanding more what you're saying, or works across the board for the younger ones?
I can remember my son being 2 years old and us doing this and it working. So I'd say, and then of course the older ones, it works even better.
Okay. And last but not least on this list is strategy number 4: provide positive power. I thought that was I didn't know what the fuck they were gonna say, but it says children thrive on the power that comes from being independent and I remember what this was, and having some age appropriate control over their own lives. So basically, kind of making them feel independent and some freedom. It's saying let them, pick out their clothes or pick out, what they're going to eat. And it says, obviously, you don't want to give complete free reign if it doesn't make sense, but like maybe the parent picks out 2 outfits and says, okay, which one of these 2 do you want to wear? The parent says, okay, cereal or pancakes, which we do that all the time. And they pick, my daughter always picks the one that she still ends up hating anyways. That's the part that backfires on us. But yeah, let them feel like they're in control of their life to some degree. It says it helps avoid tantrums. I don't know how that really helps avoid tantrums. I guess maybe.
I'm trying to think like how to connect it. I mean, independent of tantrums, I see a lot of value in it, and we've seen it with our kids. No matter the gender, like it's always played itself out really well. I have to imagine it does lend itself. I can't think of a circumstance where like I could connect like, oh, empowering them to make decisions led to less or no tantrums. But I can, because I think a lot of times when tantrums occur is because the kid doesn't feel like they're able to do what they want, or they feel like they're not being heard.
Right.
So those are like, I think, 2 main aspects of why things blow up. And when they're in the driver's seat for even something that might for us seem like minimal, for them it's a big deal. And then I think they feel more inclusion in the family, therefore feeling more heard, lessening the amount of tantrums. It's the logic that I think is behind it. So
right. So the last little sentence, it says, once her need for positive power is met, you'll find that any negative behavior such as tantrums will be less likely to occur later on. Now, my thought when it comes to my kids having this sibling rivalry where my daughter is pretty mean to my son, for a lot of their interactions, I feel like I don't know if I can call that tantrums or what, because I need strategies for that. Like I've tried different strategies, and you would think, like, for example, in this positive power one, you give her like I want my daughter to feel like the big sister, and that she's the one, and kind of like, like offering
like a mini mom.
Yeah, like, but that ends up backfiring because he's he has so much PTSD from her already.
Oh.
That when she does turn on nice and tries to do something, it feels like he doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
And he already like preemptively strikes.
Because she's conditioned him, so like he doesn't trust it.
He doesn't trust it, or he's learned that how she acts sometimes works for her, so he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it too."
Right.
It's rubbed off on him. So like an example is that, she doesn't want him close to her, right? She's like, "Oh, Baby Bro's too close. He's too close," and she'll like kick him or like shove him like slowly, but it's like forcefully, and it's like foul. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I see you. It's like a slow car crash. I'm like, what are you doing? So then she'll walk away, and then she'll pretend like she's being nice, and she'll come back into the fold, and now he's in the area, and then I see him. He just goes whop and pushes her back. No, you're not coming in this area. And he's like adamant about no, and he puts all full force into like not letting her in, and then now she gets mad, and then he gets mad, and it's just everybody gets mad and starts crying and losing their mind.
I like, not that I wish this happened to me, but I almost wish I had experience in dealing with that, because I thought, because my eldest and my son, my oldest daughter and my son are 9 years apart. I always thought there was going to be conflict between them two because of how they're completely different stages on the spectrum. Right? So I always expected there to be like beef that we had to like consistent beef between them that we had to deal with. And it was all love from jump. And so I don't have.
I'm so over you guys, and I never went through this bullshit, man.
And then my youngest daughter and my son, they're 3 years apart, and she adores her older brother. She checks him, and he checks her every now and again. But there's 90% of the time it's all love. So I can't help you, bro.
I don't get it, man. And like my family's here from LA, so I got my godson here and my cousin, and I'm telling them about my daughter, how she's been acting with him, and some of her misbehavior. And my cousin's like, my godson right now is 12 years old. She's like, I don't know. I've never had that issue. He was such a good boy. He never gave me up. And I'm like, and I've been around them, but I just can't remember if I've ever seen him misbehave. But I'm like, bro, this is fucking bullshit, man.
Why am I the only one?
Like, and then other people will tell me my kids are great, that they're really good kids. And
I would say that, like, my interactions with them, that's the sentiment I have, but I don't deal with them in the private time.
I mean, I guess my takeaway from that is, when it's you and your family unit, you only know that, so you don't know, you can't compare it to. Yeah, of course, things could always be worse and things could be better, and so anything, like, if my kids are good for 90% of the time, that 10% that they're bad, it just stands out to us, and it's really, like, we're just not really, like, built for that because we're not used to it. So
yeah,
maybe that's what it is. It's just it's amplified when my daughter's been at dinner time is terrible right now. She's being picky. Oh man, really quick. So I've talked about the primary doctor. He's a little bit dry, right? So today we take our son, and he's like, he comes in. The dude is all about data. Like, everything, our doctor is all about the percentage wise of, whatever, all the little data points. And so we're saying something, we bring up something about picky eating. He's like, how is he eating? And we're like, our son is pretty good about eating, but he's starting to get picky. And then he's like, yeah, that you have to nip that in the butt now. It's like, I want to say the way he said it, but he was like, all these things, have to be dealt with now. It's like, it's like saying a parent paying for a 30-year-old's lifestyle, and then that 30-year-old never gets a job. It's the same thing. If you don't start to, make sure that they eat everything they eat now, you're doing it for the better for them in the future. You got to nip, the behavior. Like, he just was like, and I was like, I don't know if I come to the doctor for parenting, like, like behavioral tips, but then I guess that would be a role too. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, picky eating has always been something that I hated about kids. I actually was having this conversation with somebody recently. The only real mechanism for you to combat that is two things. One is exposure. So however you can make it happen in your household, you got to figure out the way to make it so that you have an agreement with your kids. And the agreement is, we have to try everything that we can try food-wise at least one time. And then if you don't like it, we'll stop. But you got to give it a try. Like, you can't be on some, like, and then the trick is, like, now your daughter's 4. She's probably going to hate most things. But when she's like 8, her palate's going to open up. And if your family's like mine, we're really excited about food. So we go to, we got our favorite cuisine and all this stuff. So the more pomp and circumstance you can put around those, the likelier it is that they're going to enjoy those things.
Yeah, I mean, part of me feels like, kids' palates change, and so it's not that they're being picky, it's just that things don't taste the same to them.
Right.
But what's pretty obvious for the most part is that she hates loves snacking all day.
My daughter is the same.
It's like, you put naturally, like, if you were to give her the same pancake for breakfast in snack form, she'd probably munch on it all day.
Yep.
But if you give it to her on a plate with, some blueberries and it looks like a meal, she's like, I don't want this.
I'm going to need you to pause for 1 second. So that's tough. I'd say just keep at it, bro, because there's no other way around it.
Yeah, and then the other thing she's doing real quick is that she'll get up off the table and, like, walk off. And in my head, I'm like, yo, we supposed to handle this. I look at my girl, I'm like, it was time to go out. Like, and then when we tell her, what are you doing? She goes under the table. She's wilding, man. But yeah. And then after all of that, and we're getting mad, we'll get heated. And it's like, oh, our cute little daughter, we love her.
And you forget.
Yeah, man. But whatever. Yeah. So that's what it is. Next time we talk, though, I want to get more into her karate classes she's been doing.
Oh, let's do that.
Yeah, and maybe I'll have another email that I can go through.
Dope. All right, I gotta jump.
Yeah, I gotta take a piss.
Yeah, me too. All right.